We can't see you yet, Meredith.
Hold on, I'm so bad with this.
Hey there! Hey there! What's up, y'all?
You good?
Yes.
The cutest couple in America.
Thank you. All right, let me know if we need.
I am so bad with Zoom. I don't know how our daughters do it.
I know. Luckily for my daughter, she's sitting in the same room with her mom because my wife do the virtual schooling, and then my daughter's sitting on the couch doing her schooling. So that's how. Yeah. So she just asked my wife, and then my wife tries not to cuss out. She's like, "I'm doing my own shit." She don't say that. But this is Lee. Have you ever met Lee?
No.
Lee, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Lee, this is Meredith.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So wait, where are you? Are you both in different locations?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm in Atlanta.
Okay.
So, and I'm only in Atlanta because my friend bought me this sign. so I do the podcast episodes in this room. Welcome to Urban Legendz podcast. Thank you for doing it. You were the first Macgyver cast member that I reached out to because I knew you'd say yes.
Justin, have I ever said no to you about anything?
No, not yet at least. But I want you to know the reason I created this platform, it really is because I wanted to celebrate people that I consider living legends and making legendary moves in their career. And I feel like your story is one that needs to be told. You know, I remember when you first came on the set of Macgyver and how much sunshine you brought. But also, I'm gonna be honest too, I had never interacted with anybody from the Little People community, you know, and so just to be able to have that interaction and learn about you, and it's the same thing I feel like when I think certain white people kick it with black people, and you like, oh, they're just regular people, you know, it's like, and vice versa though, you know, and vice versa. So, I mean, who knew we were going to gravitate towards each other so strongly, have so many laughs together. And that's why you was the first person that I asked to do this.
Well, I am so honored because I am, as you know, the hugest fan of yours. And I was thinking about this morning. I was trying to remember our very first interaction together. And then I started realizing my very first scene, aside from when I entered the war room as Maddie Weber, was with you.
Wow.
On Macgyver. And it was instant connection to you. And it's just only gotten stronger and stronger. You and I are like forever. And your family to me, you know that.
Straight up, that go both ways. Yeah, it's not a joke, people. This is real deal, a love connection, a friendship round here. So yeah, I wanted to get into like your backstory and all of that stuff, you know. So I wanted to find. No, first of all, how have you been dealing with the cancellation of Macgyver?
Oh, you know, I think it sort of dovetails into what I started with, which is we're family, and we really are. So it's there's a grieving process where I am processing the fact that I'm not going to be seeing you guys every day. I mean, you'll all be in my life, you know, because that is family. But to not have you accessible, you know, coming into the set and giving you a big hug every morning and having our daily laughs and sitting next to you all the time, that's a loss. And also the crew, which became our family. And you know, I just did the last ADR for Maddie Weber, and I disintegrated into a puddle because I thought to myself, this is quite possibly, although our fans, whoa. So I say quite possibly, because you never say never.
Right.
But I thought this could be the last time I say words from Maddie Weber, you know, and so that was really hard for me to digest. It's still not quite sitting with me yet.
Yeah, I just did my last ADR too, and I did a backflip out of the room. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
You did a what?
A backflip. I was like, oh, yippee! No, I'm joking, yo. The fans with the Save Macgyver campaign, so incredible. I mean, how have you been? What were your thoughts? What have been your feelings seeing hashtag Save Macgyver and them buying billboards and all of that?
It's so humbling. It's so moving to see what an impact this show has made universally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about people in France and Spain and all over the world, not just the United States of America, and how people have connected to this show in such a profound way, and to each one of our characters, girls that are now computer hackers because of Riley, and women that and children that are different. I mean, the letters that I've gotten related to people with any sort of difference and how they view my character as someone who's strong and who comes from a place of power and strength and intelligence, and that they've been given the strength and the courage to achieve the goals that they want to achieve, that they see the sky is the limit. That is in it a gift that, you know, I keep receiving. And so people are not ready to let the show go. And they've motivated themselves to do everything possible to be heard. And how could you not be touched and moved by that? I'm sure you feel the same.
Absolutely. You know, I'm one of those people, even when we had a Zoom conference after the show, you know, wasn't renewed. That's what Wendy said. She said, "Girl, boy, you just wasn't renewed. You wasn't canceled." Wendy Raquel Robinson. So my mind frame is always like, what's next? Okay, like I gotta find a way to provide for my family. You know, so I'm always on like that mode. But when I started seeing the same Macgyver campaign and all the hashtags and the billboards, I was like, wow. I think that's when it really hit me. I knew we had diehard fans, but the love, I mean, they came together and raised money, you know, to get those billboards up, you know. So the fact that they did that globally is amazing. I was blown away by that, and that made me, I was like, well yeah, let's do another season then. Damn it, since everybody said we should. So I would love nothing more for it to work, just to show the power of the people. So I think that would be incredible if we did at least do 6 episodes. I honestly feel like they should do 6 episodes, even if it's a summer run, just to give the fans what they want and just really end the show the way it could be ended. And a lot of people want to see Mac and Riley get together.
I know. You know, it just shows the connection that people really have. This isn't just a show for them. And that's been apparent in the passion that I've been seeing on social media.
For sure. Well, we gonna see everybody. You know, y'all keep doing y'all thing out there. You know, I tweet hashtag Save Macgyver every once in a while, you know, just to show my solidarity with the people. Because without you all, without fans, we would have no show for 5 seasons. So y'all carried us that far. All right, so let's get into your background, son. Okay, where were you raised?
So I was raised on the South Shore of Long Island in a town called Woodmere. And so my parents are New Yorkers, born and raised. My mom from the Bronx, my dad from Brooklyn. And they have a really cool story because they're both, my father, I tragically lost 4 years ago. And I think about him every day. Actually lost him right when I started Macgyver. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I remember.
It was like my 2nd episode. Maybe it was my 3rd episode. Ironically, it was an episode all about loss. And so that was tough. But anyway, my dad was born with cerebral palsy. And my mom is a little person. And they had a lot of struggles growing up, but they rose to the top. My dad was an administrative law judge. My mom, a very prominent psychoanalyst. And at the time when they were growing up in the 1950s, they were segregated in a segregated school because people with disabilities during that time were not permitted to enter mainstream school. And so they grew up during that time, and then the Civil Rights Act and a lot of changes came about, and they always had the notion that there's nothing in the world that they couldn't accomplish, both extremely academic people. My dad eventually graduated from New York Law School, the top of his class. My mom was valedictorian at NYU.
Wow.
And so by the time they met, they were really accomplished in their own rights. And so growing up, I always was taught, the sky's the limit. There's absolutely nothing that you can't do unless you don't want to do it.
Right.
And so I moved to Long Island when I was 3 and went to school and did all the typical things that everybody does and had a great group of friends, a boyfriend, nothing atypical at all.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. How was it? This is what I wanted to ask you. When did you first understand the concept that you were a little person? Was that ever a thought? Like, did someone have to tell you, or could you,
So
somebody had to tell me I was black. My mom was like, "Boy, you're black." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" No, I'm listening.
No, it's a great question. So my mom, is a little person, but growing up, not really being around other little people, this was just my life, my norm. My friends were not little people. I wasn't treated any differently. I was just to them Mary, because that's what everyone on Long Island would call me, is Mary. And so, but I remember very vividly coming home from first grade, and this boy who really had it out for me punched me in the gut in first grade and called me a midget.
Oh, wow.
And I never heard that word before. And so I came home and had dinner with my parents, as we did every night. And I said to my dad, this boy punched me in the gut today. And immediately my dad was like, "Say what?" I said, "And he called me a midget. What does that mean?" And it was like record scratch, because we'd never covered that before. And
how old were you again?
I was in first grade. So
first
I was
grade,
about 6. And that's when kids noticed that I wasn't growing at the same rate, because before that it's pretty even playing field.
Right.
Nobody could really tell that I was a little person until I fell off the growth chart. And that started happening around the age of 6, when I stayed where I was and everybody else was creeping up. And so my dad explained to me that the word midget is a mean word, a labeling word, an inappropriate word, and a word that was used to demean little people. And that most of the time that word comes out of ignorance, not knowing. And that I was going to hear that word throughout my life, and that I was going to have to learn to cope with that word, to defend that word, and to know that word was not, it wasn't going to be the last time I was going to hear that word. So that was the first time that I ever realized that there was a difference, was when I was made aware by this kid who continued all throughout elementary school and even in high school to bully me. I mean, look, I still deal with bullies. Now they're just adults. But,
that's right.
You'd be surprised.
Right.
But I think that dealing with people that are unkind, who don't know, or who for some reason choose to target other people, that was where my interest in psychology began.
Okay.
So I started to wonder, what's going on in that person's life? What's going on in that person's mind where they feel that they need to make someone else feel less than? And so I started to dissect that, and it helped me to gain a higher understanding of other people's psychology. And I do credit that a lot for what made me get into psychology at one point in my life. Right,
because you went to school for psychology, right?
I did. I got my my master's degree in clinical psychology, and then I started my doctoral program, because my goal was to be a forensic criminologist. That's what I wanted to do, or a psychologist, or a psychiatrist, something in that area.
Hey, what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist? Because I honestly don't know.
a psychiatrist can prescribe psychotropic medication.
Gotcha.
And a psychologist you go to on a more frequent basis to talk about your issues, to work out a treatment plan. But a psychiatrist handles the medication aspect of your case.
Gotcha. So when did the entertainment bug hit you then, the acting bug? When did that come about?
So like I said, I went through high school, went through college. In college, I took some acting classes and I kind of loved it, but it wasn't my direction. You know, like I said, I saw Silence of the Lambs and that was it for me. Like,
oh, nice.
I used to drive past, going into Manhattan, I drive past Manhattan State and Creedmoor and I'd say, that's where I'm going to work. That's what I want to do. I want to work in a psychiatric locked facility. That was my goal. And my parents were like, what? Oh, I mean, you can, but anyway, so I went through schooling and I had just been accepted into my PhD program, started in that program when I learned that there was an open casting call for a leading role in a movie starring Kathy Bates, Dan Aykroyd, Rupert Everett.
Wow. Unconditional love, right?
What?
Unconditional love?
Unconditional love. And I thought to myself, and the role was this crazy, sassy, gun-toting, cigarette-smoking, cursing little person. And I was like, that's fun. Like, I could do it.
Right.
So I drove myself into Manhattan. And I remember it was my very first audition. I walked into this big casting office and there was probably 30 little women in that room that had been doing it for a while. And, you know, I walk in and I was like, I'm going to get this role. And they're all looking at me. And it was Billy Hopkins, who's a huge casting director, Carrie Barden and Billy Hopkins casting this movie. And I went in and I read for this part. And I remember driving home and thinking, this is what I want to do, I think. I don't know, but this is fun. And I found such a freedom in being someone else, someone who could really, at that time, I was 22. And I thought, because this character just like was, you know, in charge and afraid of nothing. And so I got the role and they did this like nationwide casting call. And, you know, the whole time my parents were trying to ground me like, you know, sweetie, you're in school. And I said, you know, I can always go back to my PhD program. When can I ever star in a movie? And so I moved to Chicago and we shot this movie over a 9-month period. It was the greatest experience.
You said 9 months?
9 months. It took a long time.
What was going on for it to take that long to shoot that movie? Jesus.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was a really long stretch. Well, we shot in Chicago, then they went to England. My character didn't get to go to England. Went back to Chicago for reshoots. But that movie really propelled my career. And was the door that opened everything for me.
Wow. You know, I've never seen it, and now I'm going to have to go watch it. I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I'm going to try to watch it this weekend. Saturday is usually my movie day. I'm going to pull it up.
I'm not just saying this. You will love it.
Nice.
I mean, it's outrageous. I mean, and everyone in the world is in this movie.
I can't wait to look at it. But you know what? You said something that I found very interesting. You said you found freedom in playing someone else. That's something I learned on Macgyver. I learned what my love to like ratio was when it came to acting. And what I realized ultimately is I really, really, really like acting. I don't know if I love acting unless it's a very fine stipulation. If I'm being able to improv and get to be me, like my freedom is being able to do me. My freedom is not having to say other people's words. which is why I realized I love stand-up. People used to always ask me all the time when I was coming up in the business, like, which one do you love more, acting or stand-up? I'm like, I don't know, man. I like them the same. But the more and more I started acting more, I was like, oh, that's why I love stand-up so much, is because this is Justin being able to say whatever he wants to say. Same thing when it came to my music. Same thing when it comes to podcasting. It's like I finally have a platform where I don't feel like I'm handcuffed to someone else's words. However, what I found very interesting about what you just said was you found freedom in playing someone else. And I think that's why a lot of actors love acting, because they get to disappear into another character. And for them, that is freedom. So I thought that was interesting that you just said that, because that really put something in perspective for me just now.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I have a lot to say about what you just said, because your best work, and I've stood beside you for 5 years, your best work is when you put the Justin in the work. And that's what everybody loves. I mean, you always shine. You know this. I call you my sunshine in a bottle, and you are.
I appreciate
but
that.
When you do you, and you infuse that, people love it. Right. You can never go wrong. And it's just your gift. I think that you combine it all and you get it right. And you do.
That's why I did this podcast, just to get compliments from you today. Thank you, Meredith.
You know it. This is my heart. It's how I feel. I mean, how many times after an episode do I text you and tell you these things?
You do, and I appreciate it.
It's true. But for me, I mean, yes, there's freedom in being able to play other people. But I guess growing up and being a little person, I've never had the freedom to hide, right? I'm always being looked at, whether I want to be on stage or not, whether I go to the grocery store and I want to just be, I'm always going to be looked at. And it's okay, because I look different. My parents always said to me, Meredith, you've been given the gift of being noticed. And so I always think to myself, okay, how can I change a perception? How can I show the world that while they're looking at me, they're thinking something, but they're going to change within 5 minutes? They're not going to see Meredith the little person. They're going to see, Bethany Horowitz, William Shatner's girlfriend, or they're going to see Meredith Oberling, the coroner on Battle Creek, or they're going to see Maudie Beasley, the crazy gun-toting, cursing, smoking woman in Unconditional Love, or they're going to see Maddie Weber, head of CIA and now the director of the Phoenix Foundation. And so that's always been so exhilarating for me. Like, how can I empower other people and myself while I'm going to be looked at anyway?
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, the thing that we both have in common is that we're minorities. So, that's one of those things, like being an African-American, we somewhat feel the same way, which is we can't change our complexion to fit in America. You black, you can't hide it. And although you wish you could, when you're going to try to get a bank loan or something, or whatever the case is, which I will admit, that process is getting better, because I've had to get a bank loan. Although I did think, the black in me, the first time I tried to get one, there was a lot of stuff going on, and I was like, I wonder if this is because I'm black. But ultimately, I got the loan. So, it's better than the old days.
I hate to hear that. I hate it. I know it's reality, but I hate it.
Yeah. So, but that being said, I get it when when you can't hide being noticed. Like, you're gonna be seen, period. And it's just like, how can I make an impression, and how can I change people's perception or thought of what they thought I would be like? And so, yeah, that's why I speak to everybody and stuff like that. Sometimes I tip people that look racist, just because I'm gonna tell you, as a black person, even like when you go to like a restaurant, I feel like they assume you not go tip, because that's just the stereotype that's been put out there. And I don't know if the shit was true or not. I don't know. But all I know is when I got money, I made sure to tip a good amount, because if they did have any type of perception about Black people not tipping, I wanted to be the person to change that, you know. So if that ever came up in conversation, they like, nah, that's not true, you know. So
Yeah.
I do. Anyways, get off of my soapbox about being a Negro. And
no, but it's our realities. The way that we live our lives are individual to us. And a lot of it is so unjust and not right. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about these things because they're real to us, right? So, you know, you and I, we've had conversations about this. We know what the fight is, what the outside world is like, you know. We've talked about the difficulties in being seen for roles, for, you know, or for fighting harder than anybody else. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sorry.
No, it shouldn't be, but we're not there yet, and we have a long way to go.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you that. How difficult was it? I know you said the movie Unconditional Love opened up doors for you. Was it difficult for you to get auditions and things like that? Or like, what was that process like early on in your career?
Right. So after Unconditional Love came out, which was actually, no, after I filmed Unconditional Love, there was a very long period before anything was happening because it didn't come out. And that was the first thing I'd ever done. And so I had to pay my bills. And so I went back to psychology. And that's when I accomplished my goal. I got a job working on a locked unit in a psychiatric facility in Sun Valley, California. I thought my parents were going to have a heart attack. But it's something I wanted to do. And quite honestly, Justin, it's where I was fast-tracked into the world of psychology, understanding firsthand the human mind and how it can unravel and how people can suffer if they aren't on treatment plans, if they're not medication compliant, what goes on. And so I worked there for several years until the movie came out and until I could, you know, I had a resume. And so talk about like a dichotomy, going from a movie set to a psychiatric ward. But I loved my work. I worked with a lot of transients in Los Angeles, and developed a lot of relationships and saw a lot of stuff. And I have to tell you, that also gave me some practical training for working in the entertainment business. Because as we know, there's all kinds. It's a mixed bag.
There's some wild characters.
And so I carried that with me in terms of, you know, assessing personalities, learning how to deal with people that, you know, have these different varied personalities. And so then after the movie came out, I got my first series regular role for CBS. Paul Haggis, who's now a Academy Award-winning movie guy, amazing writer, incredible man, hired me for Family Law, which is a series with Tony Danza and Kathleen Quinlan and Sally Richardson and Dixie Carter, Christopher McDonald. And I played a lawyer, and it was fabulous, but I was green. Like I was like, wait, what? And it was, again, like a learning experience, but I loved it. And then from there, there were lulls, you know, series don't last forever. Look, like, you know, I've said to a lot of people, 5 seasons is nothing to sneeze at for Macgyver.
Right.
Family Law, I was on that. And then there was a lot of time in between. And I'd go back to work as a psychologist, which is why I was glad to have my degree. Right. So I had something to fall back on. You know, I couldn't wait tables physically, or, you know, there was other jobs that people do in between. This was mine. And then, you know, along the way, I've had a lot of wonderful success. Like David Shore, who is a very dear friend and an incredible showrunner, hired me as the coroner on Battle Creek for CBS, and that lasted a season. And of course, David Kelly, who is a knight in shining armor to me. After seeing Unconditional Love, hired me for Boston Legal.
Wow.
And that lasted 3 seasons. That was supposed to be like a little guest star. And people just loved the character of Bethany Horowitz. And they loved the idea of, Bill Shatner with me and me with him. And that show was lightning in a bottle.
Wow.
It was, again, another family atmosphere.
Yeah, that was one that everyone was talking about. I remember always hearing people talk about Boston Legal when it was on.
It was the writing and David Kelly is such a collaborative showrunner, and he's such a, comes from a place of being present and kind and setting you up for success and wanting, to see his word shine through and it was just always so open and wonderful. I mean, it's my dream to work with him again. David Kelly, if you're listening to this, I'm unemployed, please.
We unemployed out here. And my tax lady just told me yesterday, she was like, you can file for unemployment. I said, oh, can I? She was like, yeah, you can. I was like, oh, I'm remember that. Times get rough around here. You've worked with some incredible.
But it's an anomaly. Like, it's hard. Like you were saying, like it's not like, the auditions, getting in the room, that part of it is impossible. Like, no matter how big your resume, no matter what you've done, getting people to change their minds, their perceptions, unless the role is written for a little person, which, to be honest with you, are roles that I don't generally want to play. I want to play a role that's just written for a person.
Mm-hmm.
And, Maddie Weber was that role. So was, Meredith Overling in Battle Creek, a lot of my roles, but like that just doesn't happen. So getting in the room for a regular role, unless I know the casting director, is really hard to penetrate.
Yeah, well, I told you need your own TV show. You need to have your show.
I'm working on it.
She's working on it. She told me what it is. I'm not sharing it. It's incredible. I think it's a dope idea. I know I would watch it for sure. I think it's very interesting, entertaining idea for a show. So, and then that's all you. What do you, because you work with a lot of prolific showrunners, what do you think is a common theme that you've seen between some of these showrunners?
I think there is a desire to set you up for success. Monica, one of the things that stings so much is that Monica Macer, from the moment that she came on board, had such an energy about her where she wanted us to succeed. Mm-hmm. She wanted everybody to feel safe and comfortable and what can I do to help you to do your best work? And that's like what I'm describing with David Shore, David Kelly, Paul Haggis, Jan Nash, Stephen Nathan. I mean, I've been so lucky to be working with people that have that same desire. Gary Glassberg, Scott Williams. I mean, these are people that just want their shows to succeed, want their actors to succeed. And also in my particular case, saw me and wanted to collaborate. How can we make this role realistic? Mm-hmm. What is, getting inside my head? Tell me what your, life is like on a daily basis. There's an interest, a care that's given. So I think that has been the common vein in the people that I've been describing.
Right. What advice, well, before I even get to that, what difficulties do you think you faced as a woman in the business?
Sometimes, I mean, I haven't had how do I say this? Being a little person, being a woman, and being over 40. I know you can't believe it, but I am over 40.
You look 22, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that there's just a fight, you have to fight for equality, for pay parity, a lot of that kind of stuff. And you see it across the board. There's a lot of actresses that talk about this kind of stuff. You just want to be treated fair and equally. And that doesn't always happen, unfortunately.
What gets me with pay parity is, I don't know. I would think the most disheartening thing is when somebody that represents you are in those rooms and they're still not helping you out, right? So this is what I'm saying. Pay parity, right? Business affairs takes care of pay parity. Usually there's a white woman that works in business affairs. So then it becomes, well, you should know the struggle and the plight that I'm dealing with. So you ought to be in my corner to help push this through. That's my own little thing. But for a black person, it's even worse because there ain't no Negroes in business affairs at none of these shows, not that I know of. Everyone that I've talked to, and that's a whole nother conversation. But but it just comes to, I guess the point I'm getting to is the importance of inclusion in some of these rooms, because they could help benefit everyone to minimize the difficulties that can go on. But that's neither here nor there. What advice do you have for like upcoming actors? Anybody that want to get into acting and they kind of hesitant? They might be in college, they might be working a regular job, and they have these dreams and desires, but they're hesitant about pursuing them.
I get asked that question a lot. And I just want to go back to something you said, because it's so important when you talk about inclusion in these rooms. And then I'll answer the other question. Why isn't there that? Why? There was just an article I read yesterday where 25% of the US population has some sort of disability, visible or invisible. And there's still so much work to be done in the entertainment industry. And I'm just right now talking about the disabled community, both in front of the camera, because by the way, the percentage is 1% of the disabled population is visible on television and on screen right now, 1%. And that's also the case for in offices and on crews and behind the cameras. And so again, we talk about there's so much work yet to be done. And so we need there to be a push. We need there to be a movement so that there is equal representation, so that you're not pushing a boulder up a hill, as you described. And the same with me.
Right.
And so anyway, I just had to make that point because I just read that article and it was pretty astonishing. But in terms of meeting a goal, if you want to be an actor, go for it. It's not an easy business, Justin. I know. It's hard. A lot of people want to be in this business. It's not impossible, but I would say study the craft, read plays, watch your favorite actors, watch your favorite directors, do your research, get on Zoom and record yourself reading a monologue over and over and over again. Watch how you look. Do a Zoom play or a play in person. I think practical ways of seeing if this is something that you really want to do could be a good start. Go on auditions. That's what happened with me. And you never know, but it's also important to have a backup plan. I think I wouldn't be a mom if I didn't say, because I listened to my mom, you have to have a backup plan, or, you don't want to flounder.
Yeah, don't be like me, everybody. I'm out here floundering.
You are not. You are not floundering. Justin, I've never seen someone with more backup plans than you. You must be joking.
I know, right? Yeah, I am.
Oh my God.
But everything that I'm doing is it's all setting up my way of ownership. That's just what I'm striving for. Ownership overall, even when it comes to the next show I do. I've told my representation that, like, if I'm not a producer on the show, and I know they're like, this fucking guy, And I mean, they should feel that way, but it is what it is. You know, it's like, I want to make sure, you know, I have ownership of some type, either creatively or financially. I need something, you know, but the work for hire for me, I'm cool on it because, like I said, that's kind of what I realized. I need to have that some type of freedom, some type of creative control, where when I make a phone call, it matters. You know, I don't feel like I'm debating with someone that's above me. You know, it's like, so that's what all this is. From the podcast to the music to the stand-up comedy, it's all like, these are things that I can control and build my brand. Justin Hires, high level entertainment, and do things my way. Even the real estate, you know, that's what. Yeah. So even yesterday, I'm looking at properties and stuff like that because it's like, I want to make sure I have income coming in so I can do only things that I want to do. So
I want that for you. First of all, I said this to you before. You need to have your own late night talk show. Hands down, undoubtedly, Nightcap with Justin Hires. I'm saying it. I'm manifesting it. It has to happen.
Now, you know, I will be sending this clip to Kelly Call at CBS. So I will be like, hey, man, brother, listen, man, the people are talking. The people have spoken. And, man,
I know I've spoken.
Nah,
You know?
I mean, I've gotten a lot of great feedback, you know, from these Urban Legends podcasts. And then my day ones is a whole nother reckless side of me. But yeah, I would love nothing more than to have a late night show. I think it would be dope. I think it'd be something fresh in late night. You know, they haven't had anybody black in late night in a long time. They finally have a woman. What's her name? Lily. It's an Indian woman, but she comes on after Seth Meyers. She comes on after Seth Meyers.
Oh, I'm dead to the world by then. I'm sleeping by 9 o'clock. Are you kidding me? By the time I go down,
I think her name is Lily Singh. Lily Singh, I think. Hey, Lee. He's fucking asleep right now. Nowhere around. Fucking guy.
I am not.
Look up who's the host of look up the late night host on NBC. I think her name Lily Singh. I wanted to get her name correctly. But anyways, it was good that they finally had a woman in late night on network TV. But
I agree. But now we need you.
Yes. Hey, I'm with you. You know, it's so funny. I was literally jotting down notes today. This is stuff that I really usually don't share with people. I was literally jotting down notes today, my late night talk show, like, points. Like, I was like, what is my vision for my late night TV show? And
you had the right name. Sorry about that. You had the right name, Jay.
Thank you, Lee. Hey, Lee. Hey, Lee.
Yes.
Lee know you about to get fired.
Don't fire Lee. Lee, I got you.
I'm not firing Lee. I can't fire Lee. He does a phenomenal job. But yeah, so that's incredible. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So what other things do you want to accomplish when it comes to you acting? Do you want to do any producing? You want to do any directing? Or what?
Well, I am working right now, as we talked about, on a show creation. And I've been working on that for the past year. I'm really excited about that. I've talked to you about it, and we're going to see where that goes. I think it's
where it's going. It's going to get picked up by a network. That's where it's going.
And I would like to write a book.
Nice.
I have always liked to write a book. I've been told I should write a book. I have a lot to share. I haven't shared.
You know, there's a lot of people like, oh no, don't write that book.
Well,
I've
lived a life, and I mean, I'm not done living my life, but up until now, I have just, you know, I think that it would be very therapeutic for me. And so that's hopefully in my future. And, you know, again, like just getting roles and working. I want to continue to work. I love working. I love acting. I'd love to do some movies. I I think I don't know where my life is going to take me, but I'm ready for it. And then my most favorite role of all, as you know, is being a mom. And my daughter, you know, we talked about this in our cast Zoom, and, you know, Justin, you have a young daughter too, so you get this. Like, I started Macgyver when she was in first grade, and now she's entering middle school. I have a tween
That's amazing.
So it's like, how does this time just marches on? And so I'm excited for the next chapter of whatever is going to come my way. I really hope that, you know, having been on a network television for 5 seasons, playing the character of Maddie Weber, people seeing that role, that now they'll think of me for something else.
Right. Yeah, my daughter was 3 when we started. She's 8 now. It's crazy.
It is.
I was going to ask you, how did you meet your husband, Brian?
It's such a good story. Do you know the story?
I don't know. I'm all in though, because I did one. Because I feel like y'all are the cutest couple. I don't know if y'all ever argue or fight. I don't know. Like, you know, I tell people, you know, my marriage got good like 9.5 years in, when I really was like, all right, this is nice. It was a lot of ups and downs and stuff, but y'all look like y'all are good to go. So I want to know how y'all met. How do y'all stay happy?
Do you see me blushing? He still does. Like, I will say this, like, my husband is my everything. We've been married for 13 years. He's the greatest. So we met when I was on Boston Legal. And I was on Boston Legal at the time, and I had randomly, I went to Starbucks to get my drink, my tea that I get every day. And every day I'd go to Starbucks and I'd get my drink and I'd go. This was the only day that I decided to stay and read a script. Only time.
Oh, that's right. I remember it now. Yep. Keep going. I'm listening. They're listening.
And I sat myself in a corner with my script and my Starbucks, and in walks this man. And I just happened to look up and see him, and he saw me and he smiled, and he's got these huge dimples in each cheek, and I am a dimple fanatic. And I looked at his face and I went, oh my God, he's so cute. And I remember being embarrassed because he smiled at me. So I looked down and I started reading my script again, and I looked up and there he was smiling again. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm going. Like, I'm leaving. So I gathered my stuff and I went to leave, and he had it was like serendipitous timing. He had his drink and he was heading out, and he stopped me and he said, I don't know you, obviously, and you don't know me, and I promise you, I'm not a creep, but I thought I saw you smile at me, and I was definitely smiling at you. And if I don't at least ask if I could refill whatever it is you're drinking and get you to stay for just 5 minutes, I will never forgive myself.
Wow.
And if you say no, I won't step in your way, but I had to try. And I was like, what do I have to lose? Like, I would never normally do that, but how could I say no to that?
Wow.
And we sat there, we closed down Starbucks, and I gave him my number, which is not normally something I would do, but I felt like, I don't know. It was like the stars aligned, and we were inseparable ever since that very day. He called me the next day. He said, I'm not a guy who plays games. I want to take you out to dinner. Can I please do that? And we were engaged 3 months later. Wow. He proposed at that same Starbucks, and not inside, because I would have killed him, but outside. And 13 years later, and we, you know, and we have a beautiful daughter, and he is the most, I mean, you know him, so you're friends with him. Yes. My husband, the most devoted, loving father, husband. I mean, he took up sewing this quarantine. He bought himself a sewing machine and watched hours of YouTube videos, because I am an online obsessive shopper, and my jeans were piling up because I wasn't going to the tailor. And he thought, honey, I can do that for you. And he learned how to sew. I mean, he altered my sweater so that my sleeves fit me. Like, he is the sun and the moon and the stars. He's also a very talented professional photographer. He works in the movie industries.
Little fun fact: he shot my cover art for my first hip hop project called Chapter 1. I do this too, but he found the perfect location. I had to match this Spike Lee Do the Right Thing movie poster. He found the perfect location for it. Took the photo. It came out amazing. So we're always connected that way artistically, because that was my first time putting out some music, and he was there, to take that photo for me. So forever thankful.
Oh, he loves you like I do. So, I'm very, very lucky. I could not ask for a better husband.
Yes. He just texted me, your husband. He said, she's lying. I was headlining at Chippendales and she slipped money in my thong. So that's apparently everything you told me was shit. And he just told me the real deal truth. You were out there looking at man meat. Your husband was getting it in, and you slipped him some money. Well,
he's in trouble. He's in big trouble when I get off this Zoom.
Man, I wish, I'm hoping to become more of that man the older I get. I feel like my dad is the same way with my mom. Just in the business of serving, of being of service to someone. And I personally know I'm always grind mode. And my wife is appreciative of that because, everything's taken care of. But I know there's a part of me that needs to tap into being more of service to her, and be like, babe, what do you want to do? What can I do for you? So, when I see men like my father and your husband, it let me know, all right, Justin, you got some work to do. I could be better. I'm a very self-aware person.
Well, you are. We can all be better, isn't that the key, is to always try to do better and be better. But seriously, I've seen the way you interact with your wife, and I know what she means to you. There have been many Mother's Days that you've come into the war room and said, Mare, I want to know the best gift to get my wife. 5 suggestions, please. So, I know where your heart is.
Yeah. Yes.
It's always with your family.
That's right. It is. No matter where I'm at. And I was telling my parents, as long as I know they're healthy and happy, I'm cool. So when I'm out in a different city, because I FaceTime with them every day and everything, as long as I know they're healthy and happy, I'm okay. But at any point, if something happens, I'm on the first flight to be there, to comfort or do whatever I need to do. Oh, before we go, last question. 2 questions. How was acting on Paranormal Activity? How did you get that? And yeah, so talk about that real quick.
Okay, so I did 2 Paranormal Activity movies. Both were crazy. I've never watched those movies, no offense, but they scare I can't.
Me too. I don't watch them either. So, yeah,
so the producers were big fans of mine. They had seen my work. They wanted to integrate me into the movies. The first time, both times, I was driven to the set in a blacked out van. You're not allowed to see where the location is. It's super top secret. Wow. I've never seen any. I've worked on quite a few films, never like this before. They buy the entire block where they're shooting, so nobody knows what's going on. Creepy. The first time I played like a cult leader, and I show up at this little girl's house who's holding a Teddy Ruxpin, and I'm supposed to sort of be like a vision, but not a real person. It was really scary. I mean, but that's what these movies are.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. The second time, I was a coven witch with a group of witches, and we shot in the middle of a forest. Don't ask me where, because again, they just plop you in a location. You're not allowed to see where you're shooting.
What state were you in?
In California.
Okay.
One of them, I had to drive to a cemetery and then get out and get in a van for the second paranormal movie I did. And that involved goats and blood. And all kinds of and not real goats, but it was.
Somebody was getting ready to tweet. How dare you?
I'm a huge animal lover. But it was very creepy. But I have to say, like, those movies are huge
Very
internationally. Like they do very well, and people love them, that genre. But I would not watch it. I just know what I shot. I don't know if it ever made it. I really don't know. But I was happy that they wanted me.
And my final question, what's your favorite Macgyver memory?
Oh, I have so many. I don't know if you've been watching my Insta stories. And, I decided on Sunday, after I did my last ADR session, I have so many memories in my camera roll, pictures, videos for 5 years. And I thought to myself, if not now to share, then when? I want the fans to see that we are a family. They know it, but it brings me such pleasure and joy. And watching all of these videos, and I'm certainly not posting even half. I just pick a little bit for each day before our series finale. I can't even say it. I wanted to say season finale. I don't know if I can pick one particular memory. I mean, every time I'm in the war room with you was a joy. We laughed till we cried all the time. Yeah. My lunches with Tristan used to come to my dressing room every day. We would have lunch together. My talks with Luke, being with V and Carlos. And when she came on, it was like the heavens opened up and dropped this beautiful human being. And Ian and I had some great times. Didn't have as much time as I would have liked with him. But and then our crew. And I mean, I'd have to say that I laughed the hardest. The memory that I have where I was crying laughing was the money memory. It was, I don't know how we got through that scene.
I don't know either. What she's referencing, there's a scene, it was season 2, I think, 2 or 3. Season 2. And it's when we're in the lab and rolling in this big slab of money. And then Lucas or someone's talking about how much germs are on money or something. And then I'm touching the money and I kind of put it down and I slowly wipe my hand on Meredith's shoulder, like trying to wipe the germs off my hand on Meredith's shoulder. And it wasn't written in the script. And it was last minute, and we just thought it was the funniest thing. And they left it in the episode. So y'all could go back and watch that episode and see if y'all can see us trying our hardest not to laugh. Because we laugh literally every take.
Every take, crying at one point. I could not contain myself. But that's happened, again, remember the time that you had a cold?
I was just thinking about that one.
And you took some kind of cold medicine that made you loopy.
I took every cold medicine.
Just to try to get through the day. And we were doing a scene with Tate Donovan, who I love so much. I love that man. And he came into the room like a superhero. And every take, Justin could not pull himself together.
Yo, I laughed at this dude every take. Shout out to Tate Donovan. Yo, he's so nice, phenomenal actor. He's been in the game for a long time. He's someone I need to get on the show also. A true legend.
Oh, yes.
I think he said he used to date Jennifer Aniston. It was one of them. Sandra Bullock.
And Sandra Bullock.
It might have been Sandra Bullock. That's probably who it was. He's been out here, man. He's a winner in life and career. But every time he walked into the room, he did come across like Batman, and like I just entered to save the day. And I was on so much medication, yo. I could not stop laughing. That's what. But yeah, I think those two memories might be two of my favorite too. And I will say, working recently with Wendy, Raquel Robinson, and Ernie Hudson, man, that was a fun episode to be with those two.
Oh, they are just icons. I mean, both of them. That episode, first of all, was flawless. Yeah, so beautifully written. And I can't imagine the fun and the joy that you guys had. You know, I was here for all of season 5 because of COVID. I was not able to travel and leave the state. So I was on my own here. And that was one of the things I really missed was all of you guys and being here. I mean, fortunately, I had Monica on set with me, which was incredible. I mean, that was amazing to have her and Alessia.
Shout out to Monica.
Shout out to Monica.
Yeah, but she's incredible. I got a Macgyver mug. Did you do that?
I got a different one. I don't have that one. Right now I have my Virgo mug with my lipstick. I'm very much a Virgo.
What do they say about Virgos?
That we're extremely organized, neat, type A personality, but also very sensitive and a good friend, good listener. What are you, Gemini?
I'm a Cancer.
A Cancer. Okay. Are you? So you're at the beginning? You're June, right?
June 24th. Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Okay, because my mom's a Cancer. What are they? You're very leader.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But they say sensitive, like hard exterior, but a soft interior. But I mean that's pretty accurate. I think they say homebody. I'm definitely a homebody if that's accurate. But yeah, and I'm like I like being around people when I'm on set, but I'm very reclusive also. Like I'm usually in my house. I'm usually quiet. It's not until I'm around other people that I'm like, hey, everybody, what's up? But if you saw me at home, you'd be like, he's boring as shit. Like, what is wrong with this guy?
No, you have to have some downtime with all of the stuff you've got going on.
Exactly. So even when I'm headlining on the road doing comedy, like during the day, I don't do nothing. I'm just in the hotel room, taking naps, watching TV, because I'm conserving all that energy for when I'm performing for that hour, 2 hours, if I'm doing 2 shows that night. So
yeah, and I've seen it. And by the way, everybody who's watching this, when Justin's able, you're kind of back.
Yeah, a little bit.
Somewhat, but go see him because it will be out an hour, 2 hours that your face will hurt from laughing. I mean, I've seen you several times now live. I've got my Justin Hires t-shirts that I do. So you are hilarious. I mean, there's things I've heard that I kind of wish I had it. Visuals that I have in my head that I'll never, ever get out.
Yeah, this ain't Boza telling these jokes.
No, but it's really it's a real fun time.
Well, dope. Well, I don't know if I ever said your name at the beginning of the episode. I assume anybody watching this episode is a diehard Macgyver fan anyways. But this is Meredith Eaton, everyone. Like I say, I created this platform to celebrate people I feel like are living legends and making legendary moves out here. I appreciate you. I love you. Any final thing you want to let them know where to reach you at, or anything you got coming up?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram. Most Macgyver fans are people, I'm the Mare Eaton. And I think I'm Mare Eaton on Twitter. I don't even know anymore. But so there's that. And, just looking to figure out my next move. And, that's it. And Justin, I love you. I'm so glad you asked me to be a part of this. I think that you two are making important moves, and I'm excited for what's next for you. And, I'm sending you the hugest hugs.
Thank you. All right, man. This has been Urban Legends Podcast, and I'll see you one of these days when I'm back in LA for sure. Meredith.
You better.
Oh, absolutely. I'm out. Love you.
Love you.
Peace.